Honestly, I kind of hate reporting on this stuff now because it's just so frustrating and just it's so anger inducing. It's so just frustrating. It feels like there's something so wrong that you see that's going on that you think that, oh, people would never do that. This is just so out of the realm of plausibility. They would never do something so wrong and so irrational and so dangerous, but it's happening, and then you keep talking about it and it doesn't actually, like, nothing changes. It's like, wow, this is crazy. So here's what's going on. All right, so Joe Biden, yesterday was Earth Day, I guess, and he sent out a tweet with the video of him. Everyone's been like, where's Joe Biden? I said, where's Joe Biden? Apparently he went on one of the late shows. I don't know if it was James Corden, but prior to that he was nowhere, and I'm sure that was highly edited like all of his appearances are. But this is a video. Now, there's something interesting about this video, all right? And it's that his wife, who looks like his twin sister, Dr. Jill Biden, not a medical doctor. Whoopi Goldberg said she should be Surgeon General, right? But she's not a medical doctor. She's a doctor in education, okay? Just so you guys know. But anyways, why is his wife in this video? Who is running for president here? Now, this is like a video 140 minutes. If you watch this video, almost a majority, so basically at least half of this video, all of the comments in yellow are from Jill Biden. So look, all that time she is speaking. All right, then Joe jumps in for a little bit, then she takes it back up, then he jumps back in. So literally half or more of this video from Joe Biden's campaign is not coming from Joe Biden, but from his wife, who looks like his twin sister, and then is acting like his caretaker. Okay, and honestly, I mean, that's what happens with dementia, people with dementia and Alzheimer's. They need caretakers, right? So, if you have like an old, grandpa or grandma or whatever who starts, who has Alzheimer's or dementia, they need a caretaker, right? So they had to go to a nursing home or you take care of them and whatnot. Jill Biden is literally his caretaker now at this point. Joe Biden probably is wearing diapers at this point. But as you can see, just looking at Joe Biden, just from this, like, he just looks like shit. Like, he just looks like garbage. Like, just look at his face, bro. Like, look at his forehead. It literally looks like it's about to explode, dude. His forehead literally looks like there's about to be an explosion out of the front of his head at any second now. And this guy is not only running for president, the fact that everyone around him allowed that, and actually Joe Biden is an enabler and abuser for doing this, because I think that she has a lot of a vested interest in this of, I get to be first lady. Not only does she get to be first lady, she also gets to control Joe Biden, who's not there right now. He's not there. Knock, knock, anyone home? No, he's not fucking there. So who controls him? Joe Biden. And it's pretty disgusting to watch. But the worst part about this whole situation is not any of what I just told you. The biggest problem that I have with this situation is that the American voters voted for the guy who has to do every fucking video that he does with his wife because he's a stumbling idiot, okay, with severe cognitive decline. American voters voted for him, and honestly, it's unforgivable. It's unforgivable. I don't know how else to put it. And, I'm sure they're going to deal with the consequences of that. And people need to start being held liable for who they vote for. Because, like, how are you just going to vote for... I feel like people just are never held liable anymore for their votes. So I'm sure they're going to feel the wrath of a Joe Biden, either candidacy for president or presidency. When he fucking, nukes... He ends up nuking Russia because he thinks it's the Cuban Missile Crisis. And he's speaking to fucking, JFK... It's really embarrassing, but it's scary at the same time, and it's scary on multiple layers. Again, it's scary that guy's going to be president, but it's even scarier who's controlling him. It won't just be Joe Biden at that point. It'll be other people as well. But Joe Biden is not being elected president. It's Joe Biden, and she's the one running for president. It's not Joe Biden. But it's really, really depressing. It's really, really frustrating and anger-inducing that this is not sitting with people, that the media is not covering this 24/7 as they should be, and this won't be forgotten. And it's also kind of like the death of American politics. I think that is pretty much over. Any sort of semblance of a democracy or any kind of just any legitimate thing that's supposed to transcribe or transpire in our country just doesn't seem to happen anymore. And I think a lot of that has had to do with basically extremely mass corporate interests basically destroying our country. And so, like, a big thing that has to do with this is the 1996 Telecommunications Act that was signed into law by Bill Clinton, which basically was the death blow to news media, because what it did was it removed so many restrictions that were previously in place that would make sure that not all of news media was owned by one or two corporations. Now, 90% of media is owned by 6 conglomerates. So everything you get is corporate owned, and it's all so consolidated. So it's like, you've got, and I don't know if I think it's Comcast, that's MSNBC's parent company. So like a parent company owns all of these different news outlets. They're all literal corporate interests. Like Comcast has its own interests, right? It is a corporation. It is something that has its private interest. And so there used to be so many regulations. There was even the fairness doctrine in the back in the day. And I think it was Reagan that got rid of it. And it was just, all of this being eroded so hard. There really isn't any real news anymore. It's more just, sensationalism obviously exists in the past. Now TV news is all just completely sensationalism. Don't care about whether or not you're actually telling the truth. We've seen hosts literally scared to tell the truth and be upfront with their feelings, and we've literally seen guests who are cut off for telling the truth. We saw the clip of Steve Kornacki on MSNBC. What happened to him? He's exposing the Iowa rigging. They tell him to shut up in the earpiece. We seen the guy who was saying that Bernie's probably going to do well in Nevada. Literally, audio just randomly gets cut off. Oh, well, sorry, we lost him. It literally cut out as soon as he started saying that. And then we've also seen, remember that clip of Jake Tapper, where Jake Tapper was basically like, "Hey, I think you're making the wrong decision here." But he was saying this in the most indirect way possible. He was like, "Hey, Democrats, I know what you think you're doing. You think that you're picking the safe, moderate candidate to beat Trump. But hey, I remember back in 2004, they went with John Kerry. The Republicans tell me they were afraid of Howard Dean because he was more of a wild card. Instead, he went with John Kerry, a horrible candidate, by the way. And what happened? He lost. And so he's like, I think you're making an analysis here of electability, but I think you're dead wrong." But he couldn't say that up front. He couldn't say it up front because that puts his job in danger. And so it's just sad. But that, as well as just corporate buyouts of our media, and then propaganda, as well as vote cheating, gerrymandering, voter suppression, voter ID laws, all of this stuff just all combines to effectively just anally plow the country known as the United States of America. And people are so dumb in this country too. I mean, they really are. They truly are really dumb, honestly. I mean, so many of this country are so dumb, they bootlick millionaires and billionaires because they think they're one day going to be the next Bill Gates. I hate to tell you this, buddy. You're not going to be the next Bill Gates. You never will be. You have no chance of doing that. And so people who are out there caping for tax cuts for billionaires and all this other stuff, and there's this hilarious meme that I had seen where it was literally, it's this photo where it says, we should have a 70% marginal tax rate on money made over $10 million in a year. So if you make $11 million, not all $11 million is taxed at 70%. Your first $10 million is taxed at the highest bracket, which is like 40 or something. And then the extra million that you made on top of that $10 million, that's 70% taxed. And it has this picture of like some angry housewives picture or whatever. And it's, people making $40K a year. And it's so funny to me that people do this, but you're not going to be the next Bill Gates. Our country is a massive, complete failure. We're the only modern developed nation not to have universal health care. We're the only modern developed nation not to have paid sick leave. We're one of the few not to have free college education either. And this country is it's a sad joke. It's really a sad joke. I mean, you have Dumbo Trump as president right now, totally screwing everything up. He's a totally self-absorbed lunatic who's a complete fraud in literally every way imaginable. Who was the 2016 Democratic candidate? Hillary Clinton, also a massive narcissist who was wrong about pretty much everything. Did horrible, horrible things throughout her whole career. Nobody liked the Democrats voted for her. Democrats in 2020, let's vote for Joe Biden, the guy who literally should be in a nursing home. If you go back and watch a 2020 video, 2016, let alone a 2012 video, you'll see the difference between Joe Biden now and before. And it's really, really just frustrating, and I don't know how to process this anymore. All of this stuff, like I have said, This whole election has broken my brain with all the different, facets and all the different things that have happened that I never thought I'd see. I never thought the country or the Democratic Party that be elect someone literally who looks like he's dead. And Joe Biden doesn't look like he's dead. When you look at that face right there, where there's all these creases, all these dents, all these like spots and shit, and it looks like it's wrinkly as fuck. Does that look like life to you? Does he look alive to you? No, of course not. Because he's not. And he's not there. It's Joe Biden. His wife, who looks like his twin sister.